Welcome to episode 15. We have Mike Kennedy with us. Welcome back, guys. We're excited to have Mike Kennedy here today. We have Woody with us, who's obviously here all the time. Mike obviously was at Simpson for 42 years, 48 years, and really was kind of the backbone of what probably all of us were trained to do. Usually came out of Mike. So always appreciative for George for the opportunity and Mike for the training. And so many years we sat offices next to each other, and man, I learned by osmosis just through the wall of Mike's office, hearing the conversations many times through the wall, and spent a million hours at his drawing table as well. So super excited you're here with us today. No real agenda today, just kind of your career and the parts you loved and didn't love and the jobs you loved and didn't love. You did some pretty amazing work through the years. Obviously, we had everything from the state capitol all the way to Our Lady of the Angels. And really, to me, you have one of the coolest careers for a number of reasons. But one, you were kind of in that heyday when we were still using cold rolled channel, and we were still making molds, and we're doing so much of the stuff that today we don't get to see near as much. So I'd love to get into some of the techniques and stuff we did back then with benching and running them in place and running them, on the bench and in molds, that kind of thing. But let's just start with kind of the basics. I know before here you're at Lamb Construction doing cabinets, and then I guess just decided one day, why not plaster?
Well, I decided one day I couldn't work for myself because my wife didn't want me to. So she found a little 2-line ad in the Birmingham News that said estimator wanted. So I came and met George, and he sent me to UAB for psychological testing, I guess because he didn't think anybody wanted to do plaster. And I passed. God knows how.
No way, no how.
And so I became an estimator for George. He wanted me to estimate drywall and steel studs because he wanted to get into that business. I didn't. I wanted to learn how to estimate plaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of didn't do what he wanted me to do and did what I wanted to do and learned from him. And George was a wealth of information.
Mm-hmm.
With his engineering background, he just did things that I was not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had that basis and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I was a business major at Alabama. So I didn't have that background, but he taught me so much, about how to look at stuff a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And how to imagine what you wanted it to look like. And then go talk to Carlos Chambers.
Exactly.
And then Carlos would build it.
Yeah.
We were so fortunate to have craftsmen, and that's really what they were, that worked for us. George Ward, Carlos Chambers, those guys that really knew what to do and knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they led by example. They didn't lead by pushing somebody. They led by, you better keep up with me.
Mm-hmm.
We had people like that for a long time, and we were just really fortunate to have them.
Mm-hmm.
That gave us a dimension of our construction that made Brassville and Doster and Bryce, all the major contractors in Birmingham, they wanted to do business with us because we knew what we were doing, and they knew we would buy into what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's those guys were the horses. They were the main guys, and it really wasn't Brassville and Gore to begin with. It was Bryce Building Company.
Yeah.
I mean, Bryce was the big dog on the block. Thomas Doster, one of the nicest guys you would ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Very competent in his business. He took George and I to that fish restaurant on 21st Street.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the name of it.
Fish market.
No, it's on the street on 21st between 2nd and 3rd. I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah.
Once a month, we ate lunch with Thomas down there, and and sat down and talked about everything but construction.
Yes.
You know, and it just, but Thomas was just an awesome guy. And he really was. And there were so many people at Brassfield and Bryce that were the same way. That you went in, you talked to them about the job, you shook their hand, and you started work. And then when you signed the contract was when accounting made you sign it before you could get your retainage.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have a contract throughout the whole project, you know, and we'd go down there and I'd go get the retainage check and have to sign the contract.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started with you guys, which was well into your career, but you know, at lunch we'd go to the atrium at Brassfield. We walk down the atrium at Brassfield, and I was like a drawing carrier. You go office to office, they just hand you rolls of paper, and I would walk down to carry paper. But we walk down the atrium one day. You go over to that's when Doster was out on Georgia Road run down Georgia Road, go walk around their office and say hey to Mr. Doster and those guys, and Bryce, run over to Bryce. That was just kind of part of what we did almost on a daily basis.
Oh, you did?
Through those guys.
You didn't have communication like you do now.
Mm-hmm.
You call somebody on the phone and said, I'll see you at 1:00. Is that convenient? And they'll most times say yes.
Yeah.
You made an appointment, you made it. But to see that guy, you got there at 12 and you saw 3 other guys before you saw him.
But the other thing is, some of that was we saw them a bunch, and you saw the people that made decisions. And then the other side of that is we worked for friends. I mean, if you had a guy call you and say, oh, I had a mistake, say, well, let's you and I sit down and figure out how to get over that mistake. Or if we had a mistake, you call and say, hey, buddy, I got this problem. Let's get over it. And it was always, to me, everything worked out so much easier. A lot more screaming and yelling in trailers. A lot less emails getting written to and from people.
Yeah.
But back then, you just rolled through, and if you didn't like what somebody told you, in office one, you just walk on up to Mr. Doster's office or Mr. Gory's office, whoever else. They were all there, and everything I felt like everything got settled on the walk through the office, and it was fun. That was the funnest part of the day.
Well, you were a person. You knew that guy. You knew he had 3 kids. You knew he lived in Homewood.
Right.
You were a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you were. And Denny Blaylock, he was over at Bryce for 30 years. And Denny and I never signed a contract together. Never. And he would call me and say, come sign the contract so you can get your retainage.
Yeah.
He trusted you to do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
He took you at your word. That's hard.
George and I.
We have here start.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. We've got almost every generation of construction from Mike to me in terms of the age groups and how they deal with each other.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before, but what do you think is the biggest, because you kind of have the ability to see the change of the industry from when you started to now, because you're still involved a little bit. What do you think is the biggest change from when you started to now?
The biggest change is that people don't want to see you face to face. To me, they don't want to communicate with you. They want to send you an email or a text or something like that, especially if it's unpleasant. They don't want to try to work it out. They want to make it your responsibility. What we have seen, and you've seen this, and y'all have too, but architects are putting more on general contractors. General contractors are putting more on subcontractors. So now we're having to do things that we've never had to do before. But yet we're not getting compensated for it. But we're taking on more responsibility or liability. And it's kind of, as stuff goes, the apple rolls downhill. And we're at the bottom. We financed the job. We're the ones that give credit. And then we have to fight to get our money, which hasn't changed in 48 years.
That part hasn't changed.
That's
been going on forever.
You do that. John's is a restaurant.
Oh yeah, John's.
And great.
Love John's was big.
But that was a really nice restaurant to go to.
Yeah. You're talking about generational change. The one thing that's obvious for me to see change when I first started working in Panama City and doing condos, we kind of started morphing into a little bit of system we use today, but I started putting everything in a binder.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember George came to me one day and he was like, why do you have that binder? I don't get this whole binder thing. Right? Just do your job. Kind of that old school, like, do your job. And so I was like, no, look at all the stuff I have in it. And we started kind of laughing because he walked me out to the file. And I think it was like Southwinds 3 was a Brassfield job.
Yeah.
We walk out to this huge job Mike did on the coast. Wait, Pensacola maybe?
No, it was in pretty good.
No,
Sandusky. It was in Sandusky.
Yeah.
Southwinds 3 was.
It's this massive job Mike was doing for Brassfield at the time. And he just finished it because he finished it right on guidance. So this is probably 5 years later. And we go pull the file, and the file's like 15 pages of paper. Literally, the contract's like 3 pages, and the total correspondence of Mike in the file is like 15 total pages in the file.
And that included the submittal.
It includes submittal and contract in that file. And it's like this thick. And I have this binder like this. And so I'm showing George, I'm like, well, look, here's the letter they sent me. Here's what I sent back. Here's the letter they sent me. Here's the letter.
That's crazy.
And he literally was like, that's crazy. And we've gone from that now in the files now.
Compared to today, you're going to get 15 to 20 emails per project on Brook.
Oh, yeah. Well, and not today. You have the new thing, Robbie, is send us an email for every trade on the whole job.
Yeah.
If we papered that out now, it would be 1,000 pages.
No how much I beg, they tag Richard in, and they're like, we can send it them too.
Well, they send everybody, and they send everybody everything, and it's just all. Yeah. Look, I always say this: the guy you got to be scared of, the guy you be scared of in our industry, is the contractor that keeps the contract in his pocket.
Oh yeah.
Right, the guy that wants to whip that contract out, and show you. Yeah. Let me show you what line 21 says because we got you. The gotcha guys are the ones you don't want to deal with.
A highlighted contract guy.
Yeah.
But by sending the email to everyone, that makes you responsible.
That's right.
And whether you think it's to you or not, you got to look at it. Yeah. And that takes your time and your effort because they'll stick things. You've had it done to you.
Sure.
They'll stick things in there that have nothing to do with the title of the email. Right. But they'll hide it down there at the bottom.
And that kind of goes back to what you're saying. We're like used to that say, hey, the building changed here. Send me a change order for that. We'll get you paid. And now they're trying to slip it past you so you don't.
It's where trailer construction is nice. We've done the trailer talk a couple of times with different groups. I'd love to hear some of your trailer stories. I've been in some of your trailers, and there's some stories. So his trailer, Mike might be one of the best trailer lawyers that I've ever been. So those stories are legendary. But one thing about it back then is if you did slip something in on a contract and you did it on purpose, you're going to see that guy in a trailer the next week.
Yes, sir.
And it was going to be a reckoning. It was a day of reckoning on every job, and it was in a trailer.
It's a difference. So you had to meet him. You had to meet that guy face to face.
That's right.
And people a lot of people are not comfortable with that. A lot of people are.
It's a lot harder to be nasty face to face than it is.
Well, you're doing.
You're right. You're exactly right.
No, another thing we see now in general contractors is you have the layers of plausible deniability laid in there. Oh, you call a buddy really well, say, man, hey, what happened to that job? Like, I thought we were low. And they're like, I don't know. Like, so I think Joey's writing that. And you're like, who's Joey? Oh, he's a guy who's 23. We just hired last week. Let me see what's going on with that. And then you call back, you go, we don't know what happened there. We're sorry that happened. There you go. Okay. So it is set up with this plausible deniability where the relationship is worth less because they can maintain a relationship while also not really being responsible for any of the stuff that happens down chain from you. And we have some responsibility in that chain as well. I mean, we obviously have to be in front of these people, but now you got to be in front of 150 people versus the 3 or 4 guys that were a relationship and know what they are. So it's a different time. Yeah. Not worse people, not worse groups. It's just a different time. The way it's changed. Risk management is really GC's game versus when I first started with Mike, a Brassfield job, they might take every trade. in house. I mean, they had so many skills.
Mm.
You know, obviously they poured concrete was their main skill, but I mean,
All the carpentry work was done by them too.
the carpenters running the jobs for Bryce and for my early career, Bryce and Brassfield's carpenters and their superintendents were almost always old carpenter concrete guys.
That's work.
They knew everything. It was incredible. They could tell you the problems with coils on air conditioners, or they could tell you, I mean, they knew everything. So
Thanks for watching episode 15 with Mike. We hope you liked it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Everything you do helps us keep going. And if you haven't already, please follow us at plasteredatsimpson on Instagram and TikTok.